Chiltern, Sussex, Victoria Young lives with her partner Mac and their 18-month-old son Theo, who was born at home but not quite in the way Victoria planned.
It was quite long when I think back to it in terms of how long it seemed to last. I had a very long latent labour where I was having contractions between every 5 to 8 minutes for about 4.5 days. So I came back from swimming on the Wednesday and Theo's head engaged on the Wednesday night, and contractions started almost immediately with that and didn't stop until I went into more painful labour. That was at 4:30 on the Sunday morning. I reckon it would have happened almost all of it on the Wednesday, but he was stuck in a funny position. He came out facing my left side, so he came out that way. And because he had been resting, but he was quite twisted around, but because he had been resting like that for so long in the womb, he had a really big lump thing on his head, which was quite big. And so then I had all the bruising on one side, really, which was quite uncomfortable. But it was mainly just all the pain in the back. So really it started at 4:30 in the morning when we phoned the delivery suite on the Sunday and finished at 20 to 8. And then I was just out of it and didn't really know what was happening until I heard the midwife say to the other midwife that she was going to perform an episiotomy on the next contraction. And I got really cross. And then started screaming. And then, before I started screaming, then the paramedics were running up the stairs, and I hadn't been told why paramedics had been called. So I thought they had come to, having asked them why they were going to do that and shouting at them that they weren't going to cut me for an episiotomy, and being told that they need to have this baby out, then seeing the paramedics running up, thinking they'd come to take me away and I was going to be marched into hospital for a cesarean, started screaming again. That's when the girls downstairs were thinking, what the hell is happening? Because I was screaming, no mum, and she thought my mum must be doing something horrific to me, on top of everything else. And then the midwife said, well, we need this baby quickly. And I said, well, okay, and did one absolute humongous push, and he came out
one go
in that one contraction, not head then body. So sort of without saying anything to me, and I don't even know, had they said anything to you?
No.
I know they had spoken to my mum in the other room, and they said his heart rate had gone down, which is normal anyway, but because in my nose it had all this stuff that he potentially didn't have, he wasn't big enough, and he should be a much bigger baby than I was growing, and my bump wasn't big enough, and all of this silly stuff. They had to read his heartbeat dropping as potentially him being in distress, and then they said they were worried that once he got even lower they wouldn't be able to pick it up at all. So that's why they were saying that he would have to come out quicker, so I'd need an episiotomy. And he came out bright pink and screaming. And the paramedics just immediately walked up the stairs, heard him screaming and walked back out again.
Because Theo's birth wasn't altogether a calm and peaceful event, Mac has mixed feelings about whether he wants to be there for this second birth.
It was an amazing thing to see. I was needed there through it, even if it was just crushing ice for Vic. I was needed. And especially towards the end when I had to hold Vic up when she moved off the sofa onto the floor into a squatting position, and I held her up. I was the only person there who was strong enough to do that, hold her for half an hour. That was all I was useful for. The rest was I was just floating around the place. Obviously she was in a lot of pain. It was just nothing you could do. I really didn't like that at all. And I'd just be wandering in and out, while she's screaming again, and I'd have to leave. I'd be in the kitchen, just literally pulling my hair out, head on the table, banging it, thinking, what can I do? And there was nothing I could do.
Mac has plans on what he might do this time round.
With Theo now, we don't want him to see or hear it, Vicky in labour or giving birth. So, depending on the time of day, in fact, I don't know, I probably won't be here. I'll be out with Theo in the park or on the bike with him. Maybe just next door, I don't know. So we're just there, and a phone call, I can come back over if I'm needed and leave Theo there. If I'm needed again to hold Vic up for half an hour, then that's what I'll do. But I don't mind seeing it, Vic. It's just I couldn't, just the whole being useless was it's too much for me.
In addition to what Victoria and Mac will do with Theo, they also have some worries about the availability of community midwives for their home birth.
One, they're very, very short-staffed up at the hospital, so they are on quite a few occasions having to close the unit off to home births and making women who are down to have a home birth transfer to the hospital and have a hospital birth. So that's a worry, that if I go into labour on a day where that's happened. And the other change is that now you don't get a community midwife, you get any woman or any midwife who is a hospital midwife. So all midwives now work in hospital, which is fine, but not all hospital midwives may be comfortable with the home birth. I mean, they should be, but my worry is that I might get one who's not very confident, and that could affect my labour and stuff. So they're those two concerns. I'm not so worried about the whole being told there aren't home births, because they can't make you go in, and I'll just refuse to go in and then hope that they get a midwife to me in time. But it's just an added stress that I don't really want to have to think about.